So, what really makes something a masterpiece? Like a film franchise? Is it just commercial success, critical acclaim? Or is it maybe something a bit more paradoxical, something that somehow manages to be like brilliant and just awful, both at the same time? Okay, so today we're diving deep, and I mean deep. We're looking at this really extraordinary review by Niebuhr Wiedersson from Caligarican News and Review. And the title alone, well, it tells you you're in for a ride. It's called A Grandiloquent Ponderance on the Multi-Scient Chronomorphosis of Swine-Based Cinema, a declamatory perusal of the Planet of the Pigs franchise. Phew, okay, let's try and unpack this right away. Wiedersson describes this whole franchise as what was it? A pseudo-paradoxicalization.
Right.
That's a big word, but it means it's like two opposite things at once.
Exactly. He says it's a grandiloquent monument to artistic vision
Uh-huh.
and also a deplorable testament to its own gratuitous and unadulterated failure.
Right. So how can it be both? That's what we need to figure out, isn't it? How can something be a triumph because it's such a spectacular failure?
That's the mission.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating question. Wiedersson doesn't back down from it. He digs into what he calls this lacuna of cinematic sententiousness and utter nascent science.
Okay, a lacuna, like a gap.
Yeah, exactly. A gap or a void of, well, the kind of thoughtfulness or clear purpose you'd normally expect in cinema, like an intentional, almost newborn ignorance baked into it. He's really interested in the liminality that defines its ontological being.
Whoa, okay. Liminality. Like it's stuck in between states.
Sort of. It exists in this blurry in-between state. And its very nature, its ontological being, is defined by this discordant, concordant accordance.
Discordant, concordant accordance, so it achieves harmony through its disharmony.
That's the idea. It sounds complex, but yeah, he thinks the creators, Flibert Snood and Shriek Rimspin, they deliberately made this heteroclite universe.
Heteroclite, meaning irregular, abnormal.
Exactly. Intentionally diverse and abnormal, designed to kind of throw you off balance.
Right, okay. So let's start where it all began then. The Autochthonous films, the original Planet of the Pigs series from the 80s. Wiedersson, he calls them a festering quagmire of a plot.
Yeah, not exactly high praise for the story.
But then he immediately says they have this pugnalicious, dynamo-metamorphistic charm.
Pugnalicious, like fighty, aggressively charming.
Yeah, and dynamo-metamorphistic. Like, it's always changing shape with this aggressive energy. So a charming mess that keeps shifting. How does that actually look in the films?
Well, the first 5 films really set that bizarre template. Let's take the first couple. You've got The Planet of the Pigs from '83. Colonel McCork, his spaceship crashes.
Right.
Lands on this world run by, well, despotic pigs.
Mm-hmm.
And his quest, which Wiedersson calls turgid and prosaic, so like dull and unimaginative, is for the remote control, which apparently holds the key to the universe's thermodynamic secrets.
Okay, big stakes for a remote control.
Right. And then there's a ramshackler skirmish, a chaotic little fight with some quixotic clown aliens.
Clown aliens, of course there are.
Naturally. And the resolution. McCork's ship just triggers the planet's spontaneous combustion. Boom. The end.
Just boom.
Boom. The end. Then, 1984. Below the Planet of the Pigs, Chirk Blunkett is back.
Okay.
This one focuses on Bobby Pig. And get this, he travels exclusively by unicycle.
Exclusively?
Exclusively. Wiedersson calls it a fugnalicious act of rebellion against the laws of idiostatic locomotion. Basically, he's rebelling against standing still by always being on a unicycle.
Wow, okay.
He's looking for the piggy circus, meets a time-traveling clown who lost his hat back in the Cretaceous period.
As you do.
Fights some phlegmatic, really unemotional clown aliens.
Yeah.
And the whole thing's resolved by sharing a trophic candy bar.
A trophic candy bar, like related to food or nutrition.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But it solves the war, and then guess what?
Don't tell me the planet explodes.
Boom, the end.
Yep.
It's pretty clear Wiedersson isn't judging these by normal standards at all. He actually seems to like what he calls the puerile and prosacious muddle, the childish, dull mess of it all.
He totally embraces it,
Yeah.
He finds their garrulous narrative, their rambling, talky style, to be both depressing and somehow an epigrammatic triumph, like a short, witty win.
It sounds like he's finding the art in the failure, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's like the flaws are the features.
Precisely. He sees it as a sybaritic exercise in self-indulgent narrative design.
Sybaritic, like purely for pleasure, luxurious self-indulgence.
Yeah. The creators are just delighting in their own absurdity, and Wiedersson finds joy in watching them do it.
Yeah.
The lack of logic isn't a mistake. It's the whole point. It's this decadent embrace of, well, narrative chaos.
And it definitely gets even wilder. 1985, The Return of the Planet of the Pigs. New star, Herky Gibbers.
Okay.
The main character is Ricky Pig, and he travels by magic carpet on an ontological quest for a bathroom.
An ontological quest, a quest about the nature of being for a bathroom.
Yep. And there's a subplot with rival clown aliens trying to turn the galaxy into a clown circus.
Of course there is.
And it even throws in a fantastical display of Terpsichorean ballet performed by a lone pig on a unicycle for no reason whatsoever.
Terpsichorean. So, dancing. A pig dancing ballet on a unicycle. For no reason. Got it.
The ending. Ricky finds a bathroom, but the sign says, out of order, which leads to...
Let me guess. Immediate planetary detonation.
You got it. Boom. The end. And Wiederson calls this one pure poppycock and flummery, just utter nonsense, but also says it has ineluctable gravitas.
Inescapable seriousness. How can nonsense have inescapable seriousness?
That's the paradox he loves, right? Maybe the sheer commitment to the nonsense gives it weight.
That could be it. The poppycock and flummery is so total, so uncompromising, that it almost loops back around to being profound in its own weird way. The ineluctable gravitas maybe comes from that sheer, unwavering dedication to meaninglessness. It forces you to take its nonsense seriously, not for what it means, but for its bold refusal to mean anything conventional.
So it's the intention behind the absurdity that matters to him.
Exactly. It's a defiant artistic choice. And the next films just keep pushing it. 1988. Beyond the Planet of the Pigs. Now we have Timmy Pig traveling through space using a sentient and inarticulate spoon.
A spoon that's alive, but can't talk.
Apparently. His quest. A prosaic search for a bowl of mushroom soup.
Just mushroom soup.
But wait. This soup is a metaphysical MacGuffin that could end all temporal spatial anomalies.
Ah, okay. So it's important mushroom soup.
Right. After a brief intermedigarchy like endless rule or chaos, with some clamorous clowns, the soup is found. The spoon sings a lachrymose melody.
A tearful song from the spoon.
Seems so. And then, boom, the end. Wiederson admires its obstreperous and wholly unctuous nature, its noisy, pushy, greasy phoniness, calling it pure hubris.
Pure arrogance. Wow, okay. And the original series wraps up in 1989 with The End of the Planet of the Pigs.
The grand finale.
Kinda. Penny Pig rides on the back of a fugitive sock puppet.
The sock puppet on the run.
Okay, searching for a lost button. But this button is a cryptosynthetic device capable of saving or destroying the entire universe.
Naturally. A universe-controlling button.
After a quick, perfunctory war against an army of alien clowns, the button is found, and then...
Don't leave me hanging.
The entire planet explodes. Boom! The end.
Of course it does. And Wiederson's verdict.
His reaction, wow, what an ending. Bravo.
Oh, bravo. For finding a button and then exploding. It's perfect, you see. This pattern, this consistent boom, the end. Plus, the increasingly bizarre quest bathrooms, soup, buttons, and the weird transport unicycles, spoons, sock puppets.
Yeah.
It's not just a joke they repeat. It's like the signature of the franchise. It's this deliberate embrace of absurdity as the core artistic statement. It refuses again and again to give you any normal narrative satisfaction or a meaningful ending. The destruction isn't just how the plot ends. The destruction is the point. It's the ultimate rejection of purpose.
Almost like a nihilistic punchline every single time.
Exactly. Everything just ends in an explosion. That's just how this universe works.
Okay, so beyond the films themselves, the franchise branched out a bit.
Yeah.
And this is where Wiederson's view gets maybe even more interesting, right? Especially with the stuff made for TV or for sale.
Yeah, his evaluations of the spin-offs are really telling.
Let's look at Space Pigs in Space. The cartoon, 1992 to 93, Wiederson calls it a direful and churlish flop. Ouch. And a parvenu of the prokaryotic media landscape.
Parvenu, like a social climber. And prokaryotic, like simple, single-celled. So a basic show-off failure.
Pretty much. The pigs travel in a sentient, churlish armchair, a grumpy living armchair, to find a lost remote control, again with the remote.
Seems to be a theme.
Episodes apparently feature subtrivial space wars against clown aliens. Subtrivial. So, less than trivial. Utterly pointless wars.
Seems likely. And the clown's goal, turn everyone into clowns.
Okay. The animation he calls maudlin and uninspired, even an anathema to the very concept of visual art. Harsh.
Really harsh.
Yeah.
But then there's a twist, right?
Yeah. He gives credit to the voice actors like Clanky Morpelson and Leisha Krunk for bringing a symbiogenic quality, like they helped each other out, made it slightly less terrible.
But the really wild part is his explanation for why it failed. It's apoptotic, state-like, programmed cell death for a TV show.
Right. He argues it didn't fail because it was bad, but because its profound philosophical underpinnings were simply too advanced for the neurometamorphic acumen of children.
So it failed because it was too smart for kids, despite being described as maudlin and anathema to art.
Exactly. And because of that, because it failed so profoundly for supposedly being too smart, he concludes its failure makes it a triumph of pure, unabashed abjectism.
A triumph of abjectism. Can you unpack that term, abjectism, in his context? What does that mean here?
Okay, so abject usually means something really low, degraded, miserable. So abjectism here seems to be like the philosophy or practice of embracing the truly low and worthless.
Ah, I see.
He seems to think the show pushed the boundaries of badness, of being commercially and artistically repellent, so far that it circled back around to being important, valuable because it was so utterly rejected and worthless by normal standards.
So its complete failure wasn't just failure, it was a kind of statement, an embrace of the anti-masterpiece.
That seems to be it. It failed so perfectly, it succeeded in embodying the abject. It's a celebration of the absolute bottom.
Wow. That's quite a perspective. He's finding merit in the absolute pits.
He really is, and it applies to the merchandise too. Remember, Piggy Pants, described as a huge callipygian rear end, basically a big butt toy.
Vaguely disturbing. How did that do?
An utter and complete commercial flop, no surprise there.
Right.
Then there was the Oinky the Pig toy. Its big feature was obstreperous and spontaneous oinking. So loud, annoying, random oinking.
Sounds delightful for parents.
Wiederson calls it a malapropistic marketing blunder, like they use the wrong words or ideas entirely in marketing it.
Yeah.
Yet, he says he cherished it as a kid. He calls it a meritorious object of desire, something worthy of wanting, and an endocryptic marvel of proc-etch design.
Endocryptic, like hidden meaning inside. And prakitsch, so championing lowbrow, kitschy stuff. A hidden marvel of tacky design.
Seems so. He valued it because it was a blunder, because it was tacky.
It's the same pattern again, finding value precisely in the failure, the tackiness, the commercial disaster.
Exactly. And the music, same thing. Loppy Squirch's song, Piggy Love, is called lachrymose and lugubrious, tearful and gloomy.
Sounds like a hit.
And Zoni Vrigger's Piggy Time is insipid and trite, dull and unoriginal. But Wiederson says they're simultaneously horrible and beautiful.
Horrible and beautiful. The paradox again.
Yep. And the Pig Planet snack line, things like Piggy Drops and Porky Slime,
Appetizing.
described as an unmitigated culinary disaster. But to Wiederson, they were mirificent culinary prakismatisms.
Mirificent.
Yeah.
Like miraculously wonderful. Culinary prakismatisms. Like lowbrow food destiny. Miraculous junk food fate.
Something like that. He's consistently finding beauty and worth where everyone else just sees failure, bad taste, or disaster.
So it's not just about the films. He sees this spirit, this glorious abjectism in everything the franchise touched. The flaws aren't unfortunate side effects. They're the main event.
Yeah.
They're essential to its identity.
Right. He's basically challenging us to find merit in the stuff everyone else throws away or laughs at.
Which brings us to the modern era, the reboot.
Yes. The modern cinematic dynamo, starting in 2020. And Wiederson's take. Predictably paradoxical. He calls it both a brilliant reclamation of a vestigial filmic property, like reviving leftover scraps of film history, and a crapulous, disfatuous, and total disappointment.
Crapulous. Related to drunken sickness. Disfatuous, maybe lacking foolishness or being senselessly foolish. So it's a brilliant revival and a sickeningly senseless total disappointment.
That's Wiederson for you.
Oh.
Okay, so the first reboot film, Pig Planet 2020, stars Lackey McSlicker.
Okay.
A lonely pig travels on a zymosynthetic hover scooter. Don't ask me what zymosynthetic means.
Related to fermentation, maybe? A beer-powered scooter? Who knows?
On an epistemological quest for a single mystical egg for his grandmother's birthday cake.
An epistemological quest. A journey about the nature of knowledge for an egg. Got it.
His journey involves a strangely corpulent man, a laconic alien clown whose only dialogue is a series of unctuous honks.
A fat, quiet clown who just honks greasily. Lovely.
And the film ends with a fantastical war for the galaxy's last teacup.
The last teacup. We went from universe secrets to a teacup.
Seems so. And it culminates in, well, you know.
A final, magnificent, and utterly meaningless explosion.
Bingo.
That phrase, utterly meaningless explosion, feels important. The reboot isn't just copying the old stuff. It's like amplifying the meaninglessness.
Totally. 2021, Under the Pig Planet. A pig travels on a rolling office chair, searching for a stapler in an office full of clowns. But this stapler is a neocryptic device that can staple together the fabric of space-time.
A space-time stapler, of course. And the ending.
Planet explosion.
Boom. Shocker.
Then, 2022, Return to Pig Planet. Pig on a peripatetic scooter, one that wanders around looking for a misplaced toilet plunger.
We're back to bathroom quests.
Facing gratuitous domestic challenges from clowns. And it ends with the requisite explosion of the planet. Woo.
The requisite explosion. It's just expected now.
And Wieterson's specific opinion on this one. Return to Pig Planet, he says. This was the worst of them all. Bravo.
Bravo for the worst one. Okay, that really sums it up, doesn't it? What is he applauding there?
It has to be the peak of abjectism, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's his highest praise, reserved for the most perfect execution of failure. When he says worst, he doesn't mean it failed conventionally. He means it succeeded brilliantly at failing on purpose.
It succeeded at being the most deliberately, unapologetically awful, nonsensical thing it could be.
Exactly. It reached the pinnacle of meaninglessness, and for Wieterson, that's worthy of a bravo. It's the ultimate expression of the franchise's paradoxical glory.
The reboot just kept going. 2023, Beyond the Pig Planet. Pig protagonist travels in a shopping cart.
Always upgrading the transport.
On a quest for a magical bucket of cheese. Why? Because its existence could end all hunger.
Ah, the magical anti-hunger cheese bucket. Makes sense.
Wieterson calls this absurdity both a poignant commentary on the human condition, our search for simple solutions maybe, and an utterly prosaic waste of film.
Both poignant commentary and a boring waste. Checks out. And boom.
And yet another explosion. Boom! Which leads us to the grand finale, apparently due in 2025, The End of the Pig Planet, starring Gorgon Catcapper.
Okay, the real end this time.
Maybe. The pig protagonist rides a talking cow.
A talking cow, finally.
On an ephemeral search for a rubber duck.
Just a fleeting search for a rubber duck after universe buttons and space-time staplers. Okay.
In an inspired and utterly inexplicable twist, this rubber duck is the key to a cosmological singularity that will cause the final, glorious, cataclysmic explosion of all existence.
The rubber duck causes the big crunch. Or Big Bang. The end of everything.
The end of everything. And Wieterson, he proudly notes it brings the franchise full circle in a masterwork of abjectism and prognostication.
A masterwork of embracing the low and predicting the ultimate meaningless kaboom initiated by a rubber duck. Perfect. You know, the reboot really does capture, maybe even perfects, the original's bizarre spirit. The quests get even more mundane, yet world-ending. The transport gets sillier, the clowns are always there, and the explosion becomes almost cosmically required.
It's not just random anymore, it's destiny.
Exactly. These aren't just plot points. They're like the fundamental laws of this chaotic universe they've built. A universe that deliberately, aggressively makes no conventional sense. It's built its own internal logic of meaninglessness.
Okay, so let's try and wrap our heads around the whole thing.
Yeah.
What is Niebuhr Wieterson ultimately saying about this entire pugnacious franchise? He uses some heavy phrases. He calls it an endothermic exploration of ontological failures and epigenetic hubris. Can you translate that for us?
Okay, let's break it down. Endothermic exploration, like it's absorbing energy or maybe feeding on itself.
Yeah.
Exploring something by taking it in.
Okay.
Ontological failures. Failures related to its basic nature, its very existence. It fails at being what you'd expect a film series to be.
Right.
And epigenetic hubris. Hubris, like extreme arrogance. Epigenetic suggests it's something layered on top of its basic nature, maybe something that developed over time or was inherited through the franchise's history.
So it's a series that feeds on its own fundamental failures and developed arrogance.
That seems to be the gist. It's this inward-looking examination of its own spectacular flaws and the sheer nerve involved in making it. And then he sums it all up as an abstract representation of the human condition.
Wow. That's quite a leap from talking cows and exploding planets to the human condition.
It is, but this leads directly to his big aha moment, the core of his whole argument.
Which is?
He states very clearly that the franchise has no discernible purpose or meaning, none, zero, zip.
Okay, that seems accurate based on what we've discussed.
But then he delivers the punchline. That, my friends, is why it is simply utterly glorious.
Ah, so the glory comes directly from the meaninglessness.
Precisely. That's the heart of it. He finds beauty, finds glory in the chaos, in the purposelessness. He thinks maybe that reflects something about our own existence, maybe a nihilistic view, but he sees profound value in the lack of conventional meaning.
The failure isn't just acceptable, it is the success. The meaninglessness is the meaning.
You got it. It doesn't just fail. It fails with such commitment, such consistency, almost such artistry, that the failure itself becomes its own weird kind of triumph. It's liberating in a way because it refuses to make sense.
So the series is, like he says, a perfect example of both prandial elegance and abject failure. Prandial, relating to dinner, like elegant in its consumption of itself.
Could be, or
Yeah.
maybe elegant like a well-presented meal, even if the food itself is questionable. It's elegantly crafted in its absolute commitment to being a failure, to being abject.
He really does seem to just delight in that contradiction, finding something profound in what makes it so baffling to everyone else.
Yeah, he's basically showing us that maybe, just maybe, something can be brilliantly executed precisely because it aims for and achieves spectacular intentional failure.
So we've been on quite a journey through this cinematic universe that just dives headfirst into its own absurdity, where, toilet plungers and talking cows are serious plot points leading to inevitable planetary or even universal explosions, where narrative failure isn't a problem to be fixed, but the central feature to be celebrated, praised for its objectism, its hubris.
Yeah, and Niebuhr Wiedersson, with all his grandiloquent pondering, he really challenges us, doesn't he? He forces us to rethink what we mean by artistic success or failure, what constitutes meaning or purpose in art, or maybe even life. He's asking us to look for the glorious in what seems utterly meaningless, suggesting that maybe real vision sometimes lies in just rejecting all the normal rules and expectations and just embracing the chaos.
So maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. What else in your world, maybe in your own life or just out there in culture, might fit this description? Something that feels simply, utterly glorious, precisely because it makes no conventional sense, has no clear purpose. Could embracing a bit of that abjectism, finding value in the discarded, the failed, the nonsensical, could that actually open up a new way of seeing beauty that you hadn't considered before? Something to ponder.